Hi everyone, and welcome back to Planting for Wildlife. Today I'm looking at one of my favourite plants, bearded iris, also known as Iris germanica. These plants are real garden showstoppers with their elegant form and amazing array of colours, from dark blues and almost blacks to pinks, yellows, browns and whites. The sword-like foliage is also nice and acts as a kind of ground cover when the iris aren't in flower. In the UK, bearded iris flower from May to June, and each flower is made up of 6 petals. 3 upper petals called ruffs, and 3 lower petals called fulls, which bees can land on before climbing through the beard to get to the pollen at the centre of the flower. Bearded iris are also extremely frost hardy, down to -20°C, with some varieties able to cope with the harsher winters in some areas of the US and Canada, down to USDA hardiness zone 3. I first fell in love with bearded iris seeing them in the stunning displays at Beth Chatto Gardens in Essex, UK. It's well worth a visit if you're ever in the area. Most of the iris at Beth Chatto are Benton iris, which were bred by an English artist and plantsman called Sir Cedric Morris. A lot of the Benton iris have the prefix of Benton, including Benton Menace, named after his cats, and Benton Primrose, named for its primrose yellow margins. Beth Chatto Gardens also have a great nursery on site, which is always well stocked with bearded iris, and I've built a small collection which has taken pride of place in my gardens over the last 6 years. A lot of these I've grown in pots and moved from garden to garden, but I also have 2 of my favourite varieties, Benton Caramel and Benton Olive, planted in the beds now. Bearded iris are scented, and the scent varies a lot depending on the variety. It can be described as powdery, giving a vintage, old-fashioned scent a bit like face powder. They also share the same fragrant molecule with violets, which are called ionones, and this is the main scent that I get with iris, a bit like Parma violet sweets. If I'm honest, it's not my favourite scent in the garden, but scent is a very subjective thing. The early growth and flowering of bearded iris is made possible by the energy stored in the roots, also known as the rhizome, from last summer. So you should plant iris with the rhizome exposed on the surface of the soil, in full sun and with enough space so they don't get shaded by other plants. Bearded iris also like well-drained soil, so if you have heavy clay for example, it's best to dig in some compost with grit or sharp sand. After flowering, the plants go into a period of semi-dormancy, and from this point they can be divided, which should be done at a minimum of every 5 years, or if you're just looking to increase your stock, you could probably get away with every 2 to 3 years. Bearded iris are one of the easiest plants to divide. You just cut away the individual rhizomes from the outside of the clump, together with their fans of foliage, using a sharp knife, then repot the healthiest rhizomes at soil level, discarding any smaller or withered looking rhizomes. You should also cut the foliage back to around 6 inches so the weight of the foliage doesn't pull on the roots. For my top 3 companion plants, I'll start with Oriental Poppies. These beautiful plants, like similar conditions to bearded iris, are great for pollinators and can create really different effects depending on the colours that you use. I love the idea of using red poppies to dot around cooler blue or purple coloured iris. Or if you're looking for a more tranquil effect, you could combine white iris with white poppies. The poppies might flower a bit later than your peak iris blooms, but that will just extend the interest in that area of the garden. Second, grasses go really nicely with iris, but it's important to give your iris enough space so they don't get overpowered by the grasses. This has happened a little bit with the semi-evergreen grass, Stipa lacingulana, I planted in the sleeper bed at the top of my garden. So next year I'm going to cut it back hard in late winter to give the iris and other earlier bulbs more space. Lastly, Salvia nemorosa caradonna is a great option and will go really nicely with any pink iris. It might only catch the end of your iris blooms in early summer, but will complement them really nicely with its vertical accents and will be humming with bees. It's such a great plant and really easy to divide too. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please drop it a like and subscribe. And until next time, enjoy the wildlife in your garden.